Hello again, everybody. Today we're going to work on how to make and read and create something called a dichotomous key. Now, dichotomous keys are usually used by scientists or other people. It doesn't have to be just a scientist, but how they do it in science is they classify living things with them. And it's like a diagram or a set of couplets or pairs of things that you can read if you're trying to figure out the scientific name of something or just what the organism is. Okay, so dichotomous actually means two branches. So that's where this one over here comes from. Notice this one's like a schematic. It starts with one group and then each time it divides into two. Kind of reminds me of a tournament bracket, except it's backwards. Okay, so in this one, they're asking, does it have feathers? Yes or no. And then, so if you're talking about this guy over here, the answer obviously would be yes. Okay. Does it swim? No. And then you would move in this direction. Okay. Guys, I know he's not a hen. I'm just trying to give you an example of how this works. Okay. Now, the ones that they usually put on the EOC, unfortunately, don't have a diagram like this. They actually look more like a table. And then if you'll notice, they have two options, so to speak, at each number. Okay, so there's basically two statements that you have to decide from, and usually they're opposites of one another. Okay, so this one here is talking about these four birds, and I want you to notice something with this particular chart. See how these names look really strange and you can't pronounce them probably? What they do on the EOC is they put their scientific name, because if this one were an owl, for example, all you would have to do is look down here and find the word owl. You wouldn't even have to use the key. So what they do is they put the scientific name up there, so it forces you to actually use the key. Okay, so let me just show you kind of how this works. I'm just going to pick this random fish here. Okay, and it's very important that you always start at step one. So obviously he's a fish, so we're using the correct key. Okay, so let's look at one. Is the fish shape long and skinny, or is it not long and skinny? Notice a lot of times these are opposites. He is obviously long and skinny, so it says to go to step two. So here's step two. Does he have pointy fins or smooth fins? Well, if I look up here, I don't see any points. So I'm going to say that he has smooth fins, and then we found the name of our particular fish. Okay, it's a spotted moray eel. All right, so let me try a separate guy here. Let's go with this one. Okay. Is the fish long and skinny, or is the shape not long and skinny? Well, obviously he doesn't look like the eel, so I'm going to go with not long and skinny. So it's telling me to go to step three. So here's step three. Are both eyes on top of his head, or does he have one on each side? Well, I only see one on the side. So that tells me to go to step five. So here's five. Does he have spots or no spots? Well, I consider those three things as spots. So we're going to go to step six. Okay, does he have chin whiskers or does he not? Well, he definitely does. Those are considered whiskers. So we found the name of our fish. It is a spotted goatfish. Okay, so that's how a dichotomous key with words actually works. All right, so let's do maybe another example here. Let's do this guy here in the middle. Okay, let me circle him. All right, now if you guys are hunters, or you're familiar with things that live in North Carolina, you may already know what that is. But remember, on the EOC, they would put the scientific name. Okay, so let's look at number one. Is the track heart-shaped? The answer is no. They must be referring to that one. So we're going to go to question two. Does the track have three toes facing forward? 1, 2, 3. So the answer is yes. So I'm going to go to question three. Are the toes webbed? Well, there's no webbing in between, so my answer would be no, and then it's a turkey. So that is most definitely a turkey track. Okay, so that's how these keys work. They use them to identify trees, to identify footprints, plants, organisms, birds, shells, all kinds of things. They actually have books for these. Okay, All right, so this is one that was an old EOC question before. They want to know what that guy is. So this is what I was referring to earlier when I used that example. You guys obviously know that's an owl. Okay, but if you look at the answer choices that are typed in italics, those are scientific names, which we'll get to later on this week. Okay, you don't know those because I don't know those. All right, and that's why they do that. It forces you to use the key. Okay, so we want to know what bird 3 is. Let's start at step 1. Larger than 40 centimeters or not larger than 40 centimeters? Well, it tells you right here he's 50 centimeters. So that means he's larger than 40. So I'm going to go to step 2. Okay, here's step 2. Hooked beak or not a hooked beak? Well, I think it's a little bit hard to tell in that picture, but you know that owls and other birds of prey have a hooked beak. Okay, so that means I'm going to go to 3. All right, does he have feathers over his eyes that look like ears, or does he not? Well, if you look at these two things right here, those definitely look like ears. Okay, so there's your answer, which would in this case be A. Okay, notice again, you could probably identify all of these things, but that doesn't help you because you have to find the scientific name. Okay, so guys, I'm going to leave you with the pine tree one to practice. So I'm going to skip over that. And then I'm also going to leave you with the sharks to practice, okay, on this page. I'm going to leave that for you. But I do want to work with you just for a minute on how to type these kind of keys out, okay? This time they're giving us 5 fish and they want us to create a key, which is a little bit harder than just reading a key. Okay, so what I like to do, especially if you have a group like this, I find one fish that completely stands out from the rest and I start with that. Okay, can you guys find one that really stands out from the rest? To me, it's fish 1, right? Because he's the only one with this particular body shape. So how I would start this is, then I would be 1, long. I'm not going to be able to type because y'all are looking at me. And it's not going to let me fix it. I don't know why. I'll delete it, start over. Okay, so 1A, long tube-like body. Okay, does that give you one particular fish? Yes, I'm going to put the Roman numeral 1. Okay, it's probably a gar or something like that, but that's not important. So if you have a 1A, you got to have a B. We still have fish left. So I would just write the opposite of that. No long tube-like body. Okay, and since we still have more fish to do, we have to tell the person where to go. I would say go to 2, right? Because we have to make another step. Okay, step 2. All right, this guy's done. So do you guys see another one that has something unique? I'm going to go with number 5 here. See how he's the only one with that spot on his side? Okay, so I'm going to put A, spot on side. Okay, and that would be fish 5. And then if we have an A, we have to have a B. Let's do no spots to make it really simple. Okay, then since I still have a lot of fish left, I have to tell people where to go. Go to 3. Okay, and I'm going to do one more with you and then I'm going to stop typing for interest of time. Okay, so is there another one we can single out? He's done, he's done. How about this guy? Fish 2 with that hook-shaped fin, and that's exactly what I'm going to type. Hook-shaped dorsal fin. Okay, that would be fish 2, and then our B, which is going to be our opposite, no hook-shaped fin. Okay, and that'll be go to 4. Okay, so now I'm out of room, so I'm going to stop typing, but what you can do with step 4 is the only ones that are left are fish 3 and fish 4. And if you look at them very carefully, the only thing I can see that separates these two, because they look like they're very closely related, this one has 2 dorsal fins up here, and this one only has 1. So my 4 would probably look like has 1 dorsal fin, and that would be fish 4, has 2 dorsal fins, and that would be fish 3. Okay, so that would give me a total of 4 steps, and there are actually 5 fish. You will always have one less step than you do organisms. So if you're doing 12 organisms, you would end up with 11 steps. Okay, it always works out that way. All right. Okay, so guys, what I'm going to leave for you to do are a shark key and then maybe the pine tree key. I'll see how time goes, okay? But just some things to remember about the shark is the mouth's on the underside here. These are gills. Anything on his back is called a dorsal fin. Dorsal means back. You may have learned that in a health occupations or something course. So this one has 2. Okay, the caudal fin is just a fancy word for the tail fin. Okay, and then the pectoral fin. Imagine if this guy were standing on his side where his pecs would be. So this is similar to your arms. Okay, it's analogous to your arms actually. Pelvic fin is analogous to your legs and your pelvis. And then some sharks have an anal fin. I think that one's self-explanatory. Okay, so dorsal side is back. Ventral side is belly. So when you're doing these sharks here, remember you always start at step 1 and then work your way through. None of them repeat. So, you know, I would, if I had this paper in front of me, I would mark them out and know that the words aren't going to repeat. The names aren't going to repeat. Okay, so when you do this particular worksheet, I would do like number 1, I think that's number 9 or 8, sorry. 8 or 9, I can't tell, and then 14. I would do these kite-shaped ones, which are obviously skates and rays. I would do those first, and then when you're doing the other guys, y'all find something that makes them unique. Like this guy, he's got that needle-like point on the end. This one has a saw-like nose. This guy's tail is really long. He has that funky dorsal fin there. Obviously, the hammerhead has a crazy name. Okay, but remember when you're looking for their names, it's not going to say hammerhead or sawfish. It's going to have the scientific family name up there. Okay, so that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, please email me or text me, call me, whatever, and I'll be glad to give you some assistance. Okay, hope you have a great day.